Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize my problem so it can be solved. That's what I'm saying. Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize my problems. My problems have been solved. Oh yeah. Woo.
Lesson 90 from A Course in Miracles. For this review, we will use these ideas. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved, and let me recognize my problems have been solved. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. Let me realize today that the problem is always some form of grievance that I would cherish. Let me also understand that the solution is always a miracle with which I let the grievance be replaced. Today, I would remember the simplicity of salvation by reinforcing the lesson that there is one problem and one solution. The problem is a grievance. The solution is a miracle. And I invite the solution to come to me through my forgiveness of the grievance and my welcome of the miracle that takes its place. Specific applications of this idea might be in these forms. This presents a problem to me which I would have resolved. The miracle behind this grievance will resolve it for me. The answer to this problem is the miracle that it conceals. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. I seem to have problems only because I am misusing time. I believe that the problem comes first, and time must elapse before it can be worked out. I do not see the problem and the answer as simultaneous in their occurrence. That is because I do not yet realize that God has placed the answer together with the problem so that they cannot be separated by time. The Holy Spirit will teach me this if I will let Him. And I will understand it is impossible that I could have a problem which has not been solved already. These forms of the idea will be useful for specific applications. I need not wait for this to be resolved. The answer to this problem is already given me if I will accept it. Time cannot separate this problem from its solution.
Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize my problem so it can be solved. That's what I'm saying. Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize. Let me recognize my problems. My problems have been solved. Oh yeah. Woo.
And now for the reflection on Lesson 90. We've returned to one of the central ideas in the Course, one problem, one solution. It says the problem is a grievance and the solution is a miracle. It also goes on to say that I seem to have problems only because I am misusing time. I think that they are separate, the problem and the solution. Therefore, time seems to exist between them. When I realize that they're happening at the same moment, then I realize also that there is no time, that time itself is an illusion. As soon as an error or a grievance seems to have occurred, the miracle is immediately there to heal it, if I allow, if I turn it over to the Holy Spirit and ask to be shown how to do that. On my own, I have forgotten. I have used time inappropriately. I have seemed to separate things so that everything seems to be occurring in some linear fashion rather than together at one time, at the exact same time. So today is the day for realizing that I have a problem that seems to exist, but it can be solved right now. And my problems have been solved right now. They're happening together. If I can do this, then time begins to collapse. Everything that I thought was ruled by time is set free. And now I can begin to allow the miracle to take hold in my life.